Welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get my screen going here just because I know people are still coming on, but it's a lot of information. So I want to honor everybody's time, and I'm going to start off with a little introduction about us, even as people are getting on and getting settled, but just gives you a sense of the lens through which we share this information. So for those of you who don't know us, my name is Susan Alden, and this is my husband, Jamie. You're going to hear from both of us today. Jamie's going to come in towards the end, and we're just going to share a little bit about how these products, how this information has impacted our life. We are both Army veterans, graduated from West Point, same class of West Point. We've been a military family for over 20 years, have two boys who this information has been incredibly empowering for us in terms of caring for our children, empowering our whole family's health. And I have a background in functional medicine, and I'm also a yoga therapist. And most of my work has been done with our warrior community, our veterans, our service members, and their families with regards to how trauma and stress impacts the body, PTSD, mental health, anxiety, depression. And I will tell you, there is a profound link between all of that and your gut health. And then my own deep dive, which you're going to hear a little bit of my story along the way, comes from when I went on an extended trip to India. Jamie and I both did 2 different times. I came back with a pretty serious bacterial infection and parasites, just being honest. He drank the water, ate the food off the street, and he was good to go, came back in good health. Now, part of that is because he was doing what I'm getting ready to share with you. So I hope you'll tune in because you don't have to go to a third world country to be exposed to these things and have gut health challenges. So I'm really excited to share with you today, and we are going to jump in and get started. Want to first start off with just saying that gut health is truly foundational to your overall health. And so, we tend to approach health from the aspect of body symptoms, or body parts even, but our gut health is foundational to all of it. And so, yes, exercise, nutrition, sleep, all of that is important. But if we're not taking a hard look at our gut health, we're missing a big piece. So let's talk reality. I mean, the reality of it is, we were joking around about, these poop emojis and things like that. People are really quick to kind of share that, but people are pretty slow to tell you that they have gut health issues and what they're struggling with. But a study from NYU Medical Center showed that 74% of Americans have chronic gut health issues. And at least half of them, maybe even more, never talk to their medical professionals or their healthcare providers about this. And so, yes, these are numbers in the US, and I know we have some international guests, and I would say this is true for the whole Western world, right? Because we are eating so much processed food. Some of the contributing factors to our poor gut health are some things that we didn't have any control over: the mode of delivery, when we were born, and whether we were breastfed or not; our genetics, of course, the genes that our parents handed to us. But some of them we can impact, like our diet, nutrition, whether we've taken antibiotics, certain medications impact our gut health, certainly our lifestyle. So Jamie has spent a lot of time in third world countries. He's picked up a lot of different microbes throughout the world. And so his gut microbiome is very diverse. So travel, what you've been exposed to throughout your life also impacts your microbiome. And then the big one, I mean, I don't think there is a soul on the planet that's not touched by stress and even trauma. And that has a huge impact on your gut health. So, this little poop emoji, first of all, that is not what your poop should look like. I hope nobody's poop is looking like that. If it is, we might have some real concerns there. But the truth is, your poop does not lie. And so this is probably a bit more accurate if we're talking poop emojis. And hopefully yours looks more like that guy in the middle with the shades on, because the size, shape, smell, color, and consistency of your poop is a true indicator of your health. So I'm going to challenge you this week to start paying attention before you flush. Okay, I know it sounds gross, but look before you flush, because your poop is a good indication of your health. I say it's like your daily report card, right? Or it should be. It can indicate, are you staying hydrated? Are you absorbing your food properly? Do you have some food intolerances, or worse, maybe something is really even going on that you don't know about, and it's a good indicator of your health. So the other thing is we should really be pooping 1 to 3 times a day. Now, I know I hear some people say, oh, 3 times a week, that's normal. You can even, if you Google it, how many times a day should I be pooping? And you'll see 3 times a week. And I'm like, okay, that normal, I'm not sure that normal is healthy, that healthy is normal these days in the midst of a pandemic. So the bottom line is, from a functional medicine perspective, if you're eating every day, you should be pooping every day, if not 3 times a day, believe it or not. So again, these are all things to think about when you're checking in with your own gut health. Now, some of the specific signs of poor gut health, here's a list of them. So kind of scan through this and see if you or a loved one is dealing with any of these: allergies, migraines, any type of autoimmune conditions, low energy or sleep disturbances, upset stomach, gas, bloating, heartburn's a big one, or maybe something even more serious like IBS, or Crohn's, or ulcerative colitis. So these are all signs of poor gut health. I won't go through the whole list, but maybe just take a mental note of these. And then if we kind of scan back out and we're thinking, what does that really translate to? Because the fact of the matter is, many of us are just living life with these things. And it's like, okay, this is just the way it is. But, I would ask you, are you really living your best life? Are you feeling your best? Are you enjoying life to the fullest? We're eating every day. Are you enjoying your food? I hear of lots of people who have a very clean, healthy diet, and yet they're still not feeling well. And so again, we have to think about our gut health here. Because the bottom line is, everybody wants to feel good. We want to enjoy the food that we eat. We want to live a long, healthy life. I don't know anyone who doesn't want that. So that's the big picture. But to go from the big picture, I'm going to take you down into the minute here. So we're going to talk about, what is your microbiome? Well, quite simply, it is the microbes that live on you and in you to support your health. And your microbiome, the number of microbial cells you have in your body, actually outnumber your human cells. So they are absolutely critical to your health, because you're made of cells. You're made of microbes. And your microbiome is all over. You've got your mouth, your nose, your genitalia, your gut, and your skin, and they affect all aspects of your health: your metabolism, your cardiovascular health, your immune health, even your oral health is all impacted by your microbiome. So we're going to talk specifically about your gut microbiome. And one thing I want you to realize is that it is as personal to you as your fingerprint. So, your gut microbiome is different from your sister or your brother, or even the person that you live with. And that's for lots of different reasons. But part of it is because of this understanding of epigenetics versus genetics. So epigenetics is the understanding that 97% of your genome is impacted by the choices you make and your environment. So that's your diet, your lifestyle, the toxins that you don't even see, what's in the air and the water, even the EMFs. Like, we're walking around with these phones next to our ears, close to our brain every day, and that's impacting us on the cellular level. The medications we take, and most certainly, circling back around to stress, that's a big one that's impacting us all differently. Now, another reason why you should really care about your gut health is because 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So if your gut is not healthy, your immune system is also compromised. And again, no time in history, or at least in our lifetimes, can I think of when it's been more important to have a strong immunity. There are studies coming out about how there's a powerful link between the health of your gut and your susceptibility to COVID-19, or how you recover from COVID-19. Here's a study I just pulled out, and I pulled out a quote. It says, improving your gut microbiota profile by personalized nutrition and supplementation known to improve immunity can be one of the most prophylactic ways by which the impact of this disease can be minimized. So again, that's huge. That's a study that comes from PubMed.gov. You can go and read the full study if you want. It's really interesting. Another key fact to remember here is that your gut is like your second brain. And that's because microbes in your gut produce signals that travel through your body and to your brain. And so we refer to this as the gut brain axis. And so if we have any clinicians or psychologists on the call, you know that this is a powerfully impacts your emotional and mental well-being. Your gut is lined with 100 million nerve cells. Friends, that is more than is in your spinal cord or your peripheral nervous system. And your gut also makes neurotransmitters such as dopamine and norepinephrine, GABA, and serotonin. These are all critical for your mood, reducing anxiety, sustaining your concentration, your motivation, and various aspects of your mental and emotional health. And if you've ever been on antidepressants or you're familiar with antidepressants, you know that most of them work by increasing serotonin. And so here, and sometimes we need this, right? I've worked with lots of folks where, gosh, they needed to use those antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications to just get by. And that's the fact of life sometimes, right? But we're looking at long-term health. There's a great article in Psychology Today that's written by a doctor where she actually says probiotics, not Prozac, right? Because we're looking at the long-term health, not just our lifespan, but our health span. So let me remind you that your body is the miracle. If you give it the right tools, your body is the miracle. So, let's improve your gut health. Probiotics like not Prozac, I love that. Another thing that you want to remember when you are, watching the news or scrolling through your phone or receiving stressful information and taking that all in, you're taking all of that in either by choice or by happenstance through your senses, your eyes, your ears, in terms of say a fire, even your nose, right? And that information is traveling at the speed of light straight to your gut. And it's because of this vagus nerve. It's like, I call it the superhighway between the gut and the brain. And it's a bidirectional nerve. So your brain is sending messages to your gut, and your gut is sending messages to your brain. And this is why stress and trauma have such an immediate and long-term impact on our gut. So folks with PTSD, you will see they have chronic gut health issues. Likewise, if you are if you're feeling stressed out, your gut is your system is kicking into that fight or flight system. And guess what? Digestion shuts down when you are in fight or flight mode, right? So some people say, oh, well, I can't eat when I get stressed, or I eat too much. Well, either way, your gut is not digesting that food properly. So before we transition into how do we solve these problems, I want you to understand a little bit of anatomy here. And so just think about, maybe even put your hands on your belly and really think about this. Your large intestine is about 5 to 6 feet long and 3 inches in diameter. Okay. That wraps around your small intestine, which is about 22 feet long. So you think about all those twists and turns and everything that your food has to move through, right? Your small intestine is where most of your food absorption happens. And then I like to say the large intestine is where the dirty work really happens. And it's your large intestine, your colon is actually the most densely populated microbial ecosystem on Earth. It's amazing, right? When we think about it. So we want to make sure it's populated with good stuff. So if you look on this picture on the right, you've got your stomach here and then the small intestine and the colon. And these little doodads are all supposed to be representative of microbiome. And you'll notice that there's nothing here in the stomach, right? Well, that's by design. Your stomach is a very acidic organ. And that's so that when you're eating food that might have some type of bacteria in it, that those stomach acids are killing the bad bacteria. All right. So, and you don't have to go to India just to, take in some bad bacteria. It happens all the time. People get food poisoning, got that upset stomach. And that's your stomach acids. Just say thank you, stomach, for working on that, right? It's keeping that bad bacteria from getting into the lower digestive tract. However, keep that in mind when we start talking about probiotics, okay? So I know a lot of you are doing these things already. Certainly steps 1 through 5 here. These are like 7 simple steps for improving your gut and brain health. And I like to mention number one, it's not just exercise, but it's things that activate the rest and digest part of your nervous system, right? That is so important. But I want to address number 6, weeding the garden. And what I mean by that, when you are in major gut distress, a lot of times folks need to cut back or maybe even eliminate what I call the big 3. The top 3 inflammatory food categories, which are gluten, dairy, and processed sugar. And I personally love them all. But when I was going through my major gut health woes, I'll be honest, I had to cut those back because I was feeding the parasites and feeding the bacteria and causing a lot of inflammation in my body. So, you know, these are hard ones to give up, but I will tell you, they can make a big difference. And you don't have to give them up forever. Sometimes people think, oh, I could never do that. But think of it as a healing protocol, right? So now I can add them in gradually. I know that if I go crazy and I eat all 3, I'm not going to feel very well. So this is about really fine tuning your understanding of what your body needs and wants. Now, you can also integrate some powerful healing and helpful tools to get your gut and brain in balance: probiotics, prebiotics, and nootropics. And this is exactly what I did. So probiotics. Now, most of you are probably familiar with probiotics, but just as a little refresher, probiotics are a microorganism, usually a bacteria. You think of good bacteria, that's been shown to have positive impact on your health and microbiome composition. So some examples of probiotic food are yogurt, kefir, kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. Please add your favorites. I know everyone probably has a favorite probiotic go-to, so you can type that in the chat. And then a prebiotic, this might not be quite as familiar to you, but a prebiotic is a food that's meant for you, meant for your microbes that are in you, not for you. And prebiotics are compounds that are found in food, foods that induce the growth of beneficial microorganisms. And they're composed of plant fibers and fruit fibers and other non-digestible complex sugars. So inulin, phytonutrients, these are examples. Some foods with those prebiotic fibers in them are chicory, seaweed's a good one, dandelion, Jerusalem artichoke, garlic's another good one. So again, thanks for adding some of your favorites to the chat. Would love to hear your favorite prebiotic food. And then when it comes to nootropics, we're thinking about the brain here. So these are food sources and nutritional supplements that have properties to support cognitive ability, memory, creativity, motivation, and executive functions. And some examples of foods with nootropic properties are green tea, salmon, dark leafy greens, broccoli sprouts. Those are all great examples. So again, 3 categories here that we're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper into. But first, I want to come back to my story because I bet a lot of you can relate to when you're feeling really bad and you just are like, okay, I'm all about the natural way. But when I was struggling in India and wanted to enjoy the rest of my trip, I went for it. I went for the antibiotics to get through the trip. And I probably only had antibiotics once growing up. So I grew up with a real medicine woman who, she was always using plant medicine and prebiotics and probiotics and things like that. So I had not had very many antibiotics, and I knew that they would kill both the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. But I went for it anyway and came back from the trip and actually was still hurting. So one of the first places I went was to my doctor, and I said, okay, still not feeling well. I was a little bit scared about this bacterial infection. And they prescribed me a 4-day round of antibiotics. And they said, you should feel better by about day 2 or 3. Well, day 2 or 3, I was feeling worse. And I thought, this is bad news. It's not working. And I could literally feel the gut microbiome going out of balance because I was sensitive to everything I was eating. And so That's exactly what was happening. So if you have been on antibiotics for a long time, you know that it's really time to populate your gut with good microbiome. And around this time frame, when I was kind of going through these struggles, my dear friend Kamile Pu'oi introduced me to what really came to my rescue, and it was this right here, LifeVantage Probio, which is a probiotic blend, very specific to these 6 billion CFUs. And at first I was like, 6 billion CFUs. I was like searching for 90 billion CFUs, whatever the highest I could get at Whole Foods and our health food store. That's what I was going for, because I was like, more is better. And what I realized is that more is not always better. It's that specific combination that is really important. And so here there's 6 specific strains to your human body that are designed to really support our immune cells and our gut health, all of the cells within our gut. And it also has this amazing component called Wellmune, and this is specifically targeted to your immune cells. So again, remember, 70% of your immunity is in your gut. And so this product was a big game changer for me, and I know it's been for many others. Another reason is because of the way it's encapsulated. So go back to thinking about the stomach acids. Those veggie caps that most probiotics are contained in dissolve in about 7 minutes. They dissolve in the stomach, essentially. And what happens in the stomach is your stomach acid is killing the bad bacteria, and it's also killing off the good bacteria. Now, the probio, on the other hand, is time release, and it releases this beneficial bacteria throughout your system in a matter of about 1 to 10 hours. And so what happens is that good bacteria, it travels through your system and gets to the digestive tract. It gets past the stomach acids and into the large intestine where you most need it. And we know this through studies showing that at least 60% of the LifeVantage ProBio gets down into the lower digestive tract versus those little veggie caps, I hate to tell you, only about 4%. And I heard doctors say that probiotics aren't that effective. Well, it's not, because it's not that you don't need the probiotics, it's the delivery system. So that's what I really want to communicate to you. By delivery system alone, LifeVantage ProBio, the probiotic, is 15 times more effective. Now, another game-changing product right here, prebiotics. This supports the gut microbiome and brings it all into balance. You could think of this as the fertilizer, right? It's feeding the microbiome. So here's the ingredients in this one. Remember, I said prebiotic fibers, they're all plant fibers. So the ingredients that you see here, these are all natural, and they're designed to not only feed your microbiome, but they also help with gut motility. There's also an amazing amino acid blend. And so this is an extraordinary product. You're not just fertilizing the good microbiome, but if you're having trouble with flowing, actually going, this really helps with gastrointestinal blockages, constipation, hemorrhoids. Prebiotics have also been shown to lower the risk of diverticulitis. So this is a powerful combo. Again, the probio is like the seeds, and the prebiotic is like the fertilizer. So I also want to say, we can't claim to cure, treat, prevent, or mitigate anything. We're just giving you tools to amp up your gut health. I do want to say this though, if you have a known bacterial infection, which I did, I was tested for it multiple times, knew what I was dealing with, you might need to weed before you feed, right? Just think about it like your garden. You're not going to throw a bunch of fertilizer on a garden that has a ton of weeds. So if you are really having some gut health issues, I encourage you to look at, how can you eliminate those top 3 inflammatory foods that we mentioned. You might even do some type of fasting and elimination protocol to really weed the garden before you start fertilizing. And that's what I also did. So I started with the probiotic, and now that I'm free and clear of that bacterial infection, I use both of these products every day. Now, another thing I want to mention is that I love, and that was a great support for me, especially because I have a bit of a sweet tooth. And when you're giving up those things, it's like, what am I going to replace it with? This was my replacement here, Axio. I love it. It is a family favorite. And here's the beautiful thing. It is a nootropic beverage, and it supports that gut-brain axis that we were talking about. Now, we do have other products. I don't want to, not talk about those, but we don't have time to talk about everything. We have an amazing omega that has the 3s and the 7s, which is a really rare combination, traceable from boat to bottle. It's an amazing product. And there's also a sale on it this week. So, or I'm sorry, this month. So if you're on this call, ask the person who invited you to share about that. But I want to talk about Axio because it is huge, because when folks have gut health issues, they are often chronically dehydrated. So this is a way to get some hydration back into the body, particularly for those of you who have kids. So this is a kid lifesaver right here. It improves mental endurance, mental acuity, concentration. It supports that neurotransmitter function that we mentioned and supports the brain's resiliency to stress. So I don't care whether you're a teenager or you're a professional athlete or you're a grandma trying to keep up with your little ones. This is amazing. It helps to give you a physical and mental boost. Great product. Here's the ingredients. I won't go through all of them. I'll just highlight a bit because I encourage you to snap a picture of this and research them on your own, particularly like pine bark extract if you're not familiar with how that supports brain function. DMAE, same. But this product also has antioxidant protection, specifically in the green tea and the quercetin and the pine bark. And these are antioxidants that help to flip the switch on your detoxification genes and turn on that NRF2 pathway, which helps the body fight free radicals, which are directly linked to aging and also decline in physical performance. So also magnesium and B vitamins. People tend to be very magnesium deficient these days, and that can be also very critical when we're talking about gut health. So again, this is something for all ages. This is our little guy. He loves Axio. He especially loves the decaf. Raspberry is his favorite. All natural, vegetarian, free of artificial colors. It is sweetened with stevia, and we do have one that's sweetened with monk fruit. And that is important because, again, we're trying to eliminate that processed sugar. We don't want to feed candida or parasites or anything like that. It's also GMO and gluten-free. So I want to end it with this because I have to be truthful. Yes, I used all these products, and I also used our cellular activation products to really get to that detoxification on the cellular level. So I want to mention that Kamaile is doing a call on that. She does it every week where she talks about NRF2 activation. And it's extraordinary because it has been so vastly researched. There's just waves and waves of research coming in about this. Specifically, Washington State University is one of them that says that NRF2 activation may become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So check that out. If you need the information on how to get to that call, we'll make sure you have it. And I just want to say that all these products are brought to you by an amazing publicly traded company called LifeVantage that Jamie and I have been honored to be connected to for about the past 18 months or so. And he's going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to change sheets here, or change seats, and let him jump in.
I know we're at 30 minutes right now, so we have if you have to go, if you have to go and you have something on your schedule, then feel free to leave. This call is being recorded, so you'll be able to get a copy of it when you'll be able to get a copy of it afterwards. So please feel free to go and if you need to. Hello, everyone. First, I'm happy that we're able to share with you today, and thanks for being here. And if you're watching the video, thanks for taking the time. If Susan talks about the gut-brain connection, and I think every time I hear this presentation, I get something new, and I realize that I guess if you can be mind blown, you can be gut busted too. So kind of like I get both of them at the same time. So I'm gonna try to get it into gallery mode here so I can see everybody's faces. Good, now I can see everybody. So what I want you to do is just take a second right now, and if you're driving, please don't do this, but just take a second and close your eyes, and just take a couple of breaths right here. Just connect with your breath. Susan gave us a lot of information, and I just want to kind of calm the mind, and I want to take a quick inventory right now. It's been a busy week, it's been a busy month, it's been a busy year for all of us, and just so take a quick inventory of how you're feeling, and what's your current situation, friends, family, financial, and try not to judge it. Just be with it. Just feel it. Now, what I want you to do is changing nothing in your current situation. I want you to try to imagine yourself, 10 years into the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What does it look like? How old are you? Do you have kids? How old are they? Who's around you? Do you have time for them? Are you where you expect yourself to be? Is it where you want to be? And how does that feel? As you're looking at this scene, think about, is there anything that you would like to change? Just take a few more breaths here. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes and welcome back to the call. I'd like you and I'd ask you to take a moment to think about that scene you just saw. What did it look like for you? And how did it feel? And is there anything that you would change? And if you change that today, how would that change you 10 years from now as you look out 10 years? We don't do that exercise very often. And if you're open to hearing about an opportunity that can change the trajectory of your life and your family, then can you please give me a quick thumbs up? Well, those of you are the ones I'm talking to right now, because this message is for you, because 18 months ago, this opportunity was presented to us. So I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Susan talked about my military service, and years ago, I had deployed to Afghanistan 4 times. And every time I wasn't sure I'd make it back home, because frankly, I had several friends that didn't, that weren't able to hold their kids again, weren't able to see their wives again, weren't able to be with their families again. To me, Afghanistan isn't some faraway place that's talked about on the news or read about in the newspaper. It's real. I experienced it. I close my eyes, I can smell it, I can hear it, I can see it. I also spent 13 months in Indonesia during this global war on terrorism. 13 months without my family. It's a real place. Same thing, when I close my eyes, I hear it, I can feel it. And while I was in Indonesia, I did that exercise we just did. I closed my eyes and I imagined where I wanted to be in 10 years. If I stayed on my current path, where would that take me? And to be frank, I didn't like what I saw. Or I definitely didn't care for how I felt about it. So what I did is I decided in that moment to make a change. Because I saw my path that I was on as a lonely path, full of adventure, yes, but I was alone. I wanted more time with my family. I wanted to decide how I spent my time. And I knew that that path to time freedom that I was looking for was wrapped in financial freedom. And I knew intellectually that the path to business ownership is the quickest path to financial freedom. So in 2017, I retired from the military and I started my own business. After starting my business, I quickly discovered, just like many of you, that all I did was create a job. I mean, if I didn't work, the business didn't work. If it didn't run unless I was cranking the gears. It didn't pay me while I slept. If I didn't work, then I didn't get paid. And I was facing all the challenges of this business alone. That was in 2017 to about 2019 until this opportunity was presented to me. So I was exactly where you are today 18 months ago. I was open, I was ready, so I listened. And what I found was an opportunity that has changed our lives forever. And I am so happy and so thankful we did. I did not realize the power and freedom of direct sales or network marketing and the role that it plays in our global economy. I was just ignorant of the business model, but I did my research. And if you want to learn more about this business model, then I just ask you to get with the person who invited you to this call because they can explain to it in more detail and why it is called the business of the 21st century. But in the time we have right now, I just want to share two main things with you about this company. First is our compensation plan. And the second thing is the uniqueness about our scientifically researched products. Our compensation plan is unique. Other businesses and other companies in this industry could adopt our system, but they've decided not to. We have 7 ways you can make money, but I want to highlight this one way, and not for the money it brings in, but for the behavior that it encourages. This is called our elite bonus pool. What it is this pool is when you qualify as an elite pro 7 or above, you receive 1% of the global revenue every month. As a pro 8, you receive a share of 2%. As a pro 9, 3%, and as a pro 10, 4%. This is a share of the global revenue every month. This system rewards cooperation, it creates mentorship, it encourages responsiveness within the team, and it strengthens the teamwork like I never thought anything could. I mean, this is an environment of teamwork and cooperation and helpfulness that I've never experienced in my professional life. And I led some of the most elite military forces on the planet. Also, it's a publicly traded company. Susan talked about that. That's huge. There's, especially in this business structure, there's over 4,000 network marketing companies in the world, and only 20 of them are publicly traded. And LifeVantage is one of them. And the products, we have the most scientifically researched natural products on the planet. 7 patents and more coming, over 31 peer-reviewed medical studies, which is unheard of in the industry. This is a great position to be in. We lead the way in an industry that many experts predict to reach to over 17 billion in revenue in the next 18 to 24 months. Your timing of hearing this message couldn't be better. We're still very small. Few people have heard of our products, but that's changing. I mean, Joe Rogan just the other month, he's the #1 podcast in the United States and I think the world. He's talking about activating the NRF2 pathway and the dangers of oxidative stress. 6 months from now, the situation we're in today will be different. This is a great time to hear this message. The time is now for us to invest in our health. We're not getting any younger. The time is now for us to make the necessary financial decisions that will put us firmly on the path we want to follow. Where do you want to be in 10 years? And if now is not the right time, then when? Together, let's do something for the world that will change people's lives. Let's contribute to something bigger than ourselves. I ask you to get back with the person who invited you to this call and let them know how you want to proceed. Thanks again for taking the time. We appreciate every single one of you. Aloha.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You make me cry every single time. Thank you so much. And if anybody needs a recording, please let us know. And thank you to the Aldens. Thank you to everybody for joining us. We had over 60 participating today. So, and I will see you at 2:30 if you want a little deeper dive on the science behind why this is so imperative in our health journeys. So Aloha.
Thanks, Kamali.
Aloha.